Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I am Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Brijesh Bhatia of Deal Money Securities, Amit Shah of India Bulls Ventures, and NS Vidai join us on the show. Thank you to all for joining me on the show. Before we go to the guest, let's get across to Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Interglobe Aviation. Yash, what do you have for us? What is the chart indicating?
Afternoon, Darshan. I'll go with a call which is against the market mood. So I have a sell call on Interglobe Aviation. Now the stock has seen quite of an up move. It's gone from the levels of 700 back in the start of October to as high as over 1,000 rupees. So that's almost a 40% up move that we've seen in just the space of 2 months. And that is on account of what the crude has done. But the move seems to be overextended because the MACD indicator that has turned negative. So as you could see, the blue line over here that has crossed below the white line, which is over here, to indicate a negative crossover, a bearish crossover, and you could expect to see the stock to fall from these levels.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Interglobe Aviation. We'll ask our guest whether they believe that there's a possible contra call that could come in on Interglobe Aviation. So Fidai, I'll start with you. Interglobe Aviation, what's your view?
Yeah, I also believe, the stock can correct a bit if it trades below 1,000 rupees. Right now, there is a good support of around 9 DEMA moving average, that is. It is holding around that area, consolidating around 200 DEMA. Has moved up, as Yash said, so you can keep a stop loss at 1,080.82 and go short if you want to.
Okay, so go short, it's an agreement. What about you, Amit? What are you looking at?
Yeah, so last week, after several weeks, there was a negative closing after many weeks of positive closing. So yes, in the near term, as of now, it just indicates the loss of momentum on the upside. It's just consolidating. I believe once it can breach and sustain below 1015, then yes, some profit taking can definitely happen. And maybe, 970, 980 kind of.
At this stage, would you recommend taking any positions, or you would wait?
No, I would wait for a break below 1015 to go short.
Okay, below 1015. And Brijesh, what's your view on Interglobe?
I have slightly contra view. I probably look for a long around 1020, 1015 zone, and look for an 1090, 1120 levels on the upside, and probably 985 would be the stop loss, because if you look at the stock has seen a strong rally and slightly consolidating around 200 days average. So might a small consolidation can happen and might resume an uptrend after a dip. So I have a contra bet on it.
Okay, so we've got all sides of the view on Interglobe Aviation. But let's start with Hot Money Technicals. Let's start with Vidai. You have a rating on BEL. Let's get up the chart of Bharat Electronics. Let's see what it is doing. And so it's trading at 93. What's the call that you're looking at?
Yeah, basically it is, if you see, this is a huge trend line. That is a multi-year, almost from 11 years. The stock had given a breakout above this trend line after almost 8 years. Currently, it has taken support in this fall exactly near to that trend line. Okay, so that is a very good area. Then if you check out daily chart, so on daily chart also, if you see, it is in a falling channel kind of situation.
Yeah.
Consolidating very nearer to the breakout area on the channel. There is a very good support at the bottom also. The stock, if it moves up above 92, then we can have a move up to 114, 124. On the downside, we can keep a stop loss at 90.50. If it breaks 90, then we can expect a much steeper.
It's at 93, so it's above this thing.
It's almost
but is this on a closing basis that you would look at?
No. I would be okay in the intraday also.
Okay, so it's at 93 right now. So you would recommend accumulating BL at this level.
Yeah.
Till what level would you recommend accumulating on the downside?
On the downside, you can accumulate up to, you can say, 91, 92 approximately. Near this area, wherever it is trading right now, you can buy even at current level also, and add a bit more if it comes to 91.
And what's
keep a stop loss at 90.50.
90.50 is a strict stop loss, and you'll see it going back to levels.
Yeah, and if it breaks 90, then we can initiate a short call also.
Okay.
In this case.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Bharat Electronics. Thank you so much for Fidai. Amit, would you agree with the strategy on Bharat Electronics?
So as of now, at current market price, see, it's coming out of it's a long consolidation and correction zone. So there's not much of a momentum going for the stock as of now. I would only trade this stock only above once it breaks above 100 for, as he mentioned, 110 to 112 zone. So that's a trading pop. So I'm not looking beyond that. I mean, a bigger move on this one.
Okay, so it's a wait and watch that approach that Amit has indicated. Brijesh, what about you? What's your view on Bharat Electronics?
I will go with Fidai sir. If you look at the chart, on the monthly chart, it is forming a tweezer bottom formation. If you look at the daily chart, it has given a breakout of double bottom. So I think at 93, I think probably it could test 89-90 zone again before resuming on the uptrend. And I would like to buy around 90 because if it would retest the double bottom formation, and it is after a strong rally, it is slightly consolidating above the 20 and 50 days average. So I would probably look for accumulation around 87, 88 level or probably 90, and look for an upside of around 112 rupees.
Okay, so that's the view. I think we're getting slightly contradictory views that are coming in on Bharat Electronics. So that's the first stock that we want to talk about. The second stock we want to talk about is Amit, and he wants to speak on Cummins. Amit obviously has done rather well. The numbers were good, financials good, the management commentary good. But what's the view on Cummins?
Yeah, so this is a weekly chart on Cummins, but even on the monthly charts, if you look, it has bounced and taken support near the monthly long-term trend line. Also, the consolidation is a very tight consolidation which is happening. Now here we have a pattern which I'm preempting would probably break on the upside. So there is a good inverse head and shoulder formation happening on the weekly. The large candles that we are able to see shows that some accumulation is definitely happening from strong hands, and especially stock which is coming out of a long consolidation. And when you see such large candles happening, if we can switch to the daily chart as well, yeah. So
this is the weekly, the daily one.
The daily one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here also, if we see, I mean, the volumes are not seen here, but this candle, there was a big gap up here with very, very strong volumes. And if we see, the gap up is being maintained. So this shows that, in spite of a big gap up, the stock is holding onto its gains. And when we combine it with the larger picture, on the weekly, this paints a very bullish picture for the stock.
Okay, so basically, would you recommend what's the stop loss and what's the target?
So for someone who's wanting to have a near stop loss, they can place a stop loss below, 758, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so 758 is the stop loss for this one. One can expect a target of 900, and even on a little larger time frame, I'm expecting stock to test levels of 980 on the upside. So that's a decent upside from here.
Okay, so that's the call. Would you till what level would you recommend? You've given your stop loss at close to 757. Till what level will you accumulate?
So actually, the proper stop loss, if someone is has a bit of bigger risk appetite, 728 is the stop loss. So a normal 5-7% kind of an downside can definitely be taken as an accumulation for the stock.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Cummins. Thank you so much, Amit. Yeah. Brijesh, are you bullish on Cummins?
Yeah, very much. Because if you look at the weekly chart, as he has pointed out, stock has broken out of the consolidation zone. And if I look at the harmonic pattern, there is a pattern called Dragon, and it has given a breakout of the 50% retracements. So I think 940 would be the targets I am eyeing on. Probably take 6 to 8 weeks from here on. And he has clearly pointed the stop loss is very 755 is very strong, because if you look at the previous swing low was around 760. So yes, thumbs up for a long side.
Okay, NS, what about you?
Yeah, I also believe the stock can be accumulated around 770-ish with a stop loss near 755, as you mentioned. I would be bullish around that area to buy, or on the breakout above 830.
Okay.
For target of maybe 865 and 900. That's it.
Okay, so I think it's a consensus call that you're getting in for a long trade on Cummins India. The next stock is SBI, and that is what Brijesh is recommending. Let's have the chart. Let's have Brijesh on. And it's a buy on an MACD pattern. You'll have to explain this.
So if you look at these formation after a strong rally, the stock is consolidating in a triangle, symmetrical triangle formation. And if I look at the recent momentum, it has given a clear-cut breakout about 288, 289. So if I look at the whole rise consolidation, it is a bullish pennant technical pattern which it has given a breakout. And even if you look at the MACD, MACD at breakout giving a positive crossover is again a sign of a strong bullish momentum. And even if you look at the histogram, it's moving on to strong positive upside. And even if you look at this momentum where stock was consolidating in a narrow range, it has clearly indicating that bearish momentum is ending and we are resuming on the fresh upside trend. So I think at 290 one can look for a long for around 314, 320 levels on the upside.
What's the stop?
And stop loss I would place below 280 or this low is around 281. So one can keep a stop loss because the trend line is moving higher. So 281 would be the ideal stop loss.
You said what was the target? You said
314 to 320.
How soon do you expect?
I think 1 to 2 weeks because it is generally SBI is a slow mover. So I think 1 to 2 weeks time should be given to this stock.
Okay, so thank you so much for that, Brijesh. NS, your view on SBI?
I agree with Brijesh. The stock looks good. It's in a good consolidation area. One can buy up to 282 on the dips and keep a stop loss around 278. For if it gives a breakout above 297, then it will gain momentum and it can go up to 315, 325.
Okay, so similar targets what Brijesh has indicated. Amit, would you share a common
Yeah, so broadly I'm quite positive on banking. Within banking, PSU banks are now showing signs of accumulation, and I think it has some more legs to go. SBI, yes, for sure looks good on the charts. My sense is this is about to test it's the monthly breakout zone of between 330 and 350. So I think on a more bullish scenario, it can even test those 330 to 350 levels on the upside.
So consensus bullish call that's coming in on SBI at this point of time. So two stocks in which we have a consensus. First one was Cummins and second one is State Bank of India. Now staying with the PSU Bank, NS has a view on Canara Bank. So that's the second stock that NS has said it's a positive chart formation. What's the chart?
Like if you see from bottom, it has made a very good strong support area around 200. Okay, and now if you take that high from there and if you connect this top here, there are multiple tops that are being connected. Okay, and you have a breakout. Actually, the breakout has been done. It is being consolidating around that area. Earlier, it was unable to cross this 200 DEMA plus the trend line. Now it is closing above that trend line around 200 DEMA. Right now, it is almost trading on the near to the breakouts. Around 272, the stock would give a breakout and can go up to almost like 300. That is my target. Okay, so 300 it can do. I don't expect it to do too much, though the triangle would be a big one, but still I am not very bullish on that. But because there is a congestion here somewhere around 300, that will act as a very strong resistance.
Okay, what's the stop loss?
Stop loss would be 252. If the stock doesn't come at the bottom, then you can raise the stop loss around 264.
Okay. More like a trailing stop loss.
More like a trailing stop loss.
Okay, yeah. and what's the time frame in which you expect?
Time frame, they should do it like if it gives a breakout, then this should happen in maybe just a week's time. But if it consolidates in this area, maybe we'll have a 4 to 5 weeks of consolidation.
Okay, so that's a positive view that's coming in. Thank you so much for that, Ines. Canara Bank is a positive call. Amit, do you agree? Are you positive on Canara Bank? As you seem to be bullish on PSU banks as per your last statement.
Sure. So yeah, I mean broadly positive on PSU banks, and within PSU banks positive on CANBK as well. My sense is it can see it's meandering around its 200 EMA, and it's been consolidating for some sessions now. A breakout, clear breakout about 268 kind of a zone. A good closing would then take it up towards 300 zone, 297 to 300 zone.
Okay, so another 300 target coming in on Canara Bank. Brijesh, 300 possible, or would you look the other way?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the point and figure chart of CANBK, it's clearly giving a double top buy on breakout, which suggests a stop loss of around 255 on the chart. As Fidai has already suggested, target stop loss of 252, but I am expecting the target much higher, around 312, 314. though it might take slightly time, because if you look at the PSU index chart as well, it is giving a strong breakout. So I think all PSU on card for a good up move.
Okay, so that's a positive view that's coming in on Canara Bank. Amit's next stock he wants to talk about is Escorts. Escorts obviously over the past few days has seen traction. It has seen decent open interest build up, but it's a buy on dips is the strategy that Amit is saying, the chart.
Yeah, sure. So Escorts, along with most of the stocks in the market, have seen a large decline. But here we have seen a trend reversal of sort, at least in the near term. So it has made a higher bottom and a higher top. And interestingly, after this up move, what we are seeing is a very, very tight consolidation rather than, the stock is not giving up much of its gains. So in a way, it's a sign of strength. Once the consolidation breakout happens, we are likely to see a very sharp up move. It's anyway a high beta stock. So one can expect, a sharp upside for the stock. So we have a target of 725 and even beyond that, target of 760 for the stock.
Okay, what's the stop loss? Should someone take the position right now or wait for a dip?
I think you can take a position above 700 if you are looking for a straight away momentum building on the stock. It's also, I'm expecting the stock to, break out on the upside. So one can use minor dips, something like 3-4% kind of a dip to actually even, buy on the dips approach, basically.
Okay, and how soon do you expect the target to come in?
Once it convincingly breaks out about 700, I think 750 should come very quickly. 750, 760 should come very quickly, probably in next 2-3 sessions as well it can come.
Okay, so that's a positive chart on Escorts. Brijesh, thank you so much, Amit. Brijesh, Escorts?
Yeah, definitely a long for a couple of reasons. If you look at the monthly chart, September, the stock has seen a strong fall from around 850 to 600 sort of level. October, if you look at it has formed a doji reversal candlestick pattern. Second, if you look at the weekly chart, it was holding 200's weekly average, and the momentum on the upside has now started. Stock is breaking out of its pennant formation on the short-term charts. So I would definitely look for a long. Targets would be around 768 for me, and I would slightly place a stop loss around 656.
Okay, so again a positive view that's coming in on Escorts. NS, your view on Escorts?
Yeah, the chart has given a breakout actually from the flag pattern. Looks very good. As per, I agree with Amit and Brijesh also. But my, I would like to buy it in momentum.
Okay.
More above 702.5 area for a target of 750, 760.
Okay, so I think it's a consensus view again, and Amit, that when he had spoken about it, he did mention that if you want to play the momentum play, buy it above 700. That's what NS has also indicated in his chart. So that's a consensus positive view that's coming in on the counter. And the last stock that we want to talk about is Sterlite Tech, and Brijesh has a view on Sterlite Tech. Let's have the chart up and what it is indicating.
So if you look at the sector play, all the mid cap site has given us already loss majorly from the tops. If you look at the Sterlite Technology, it is being trading into higher high, higher low formations. Okay, it has been clearly holding the previous swings low it has made. And if you look at the harmonic pattern, this is a bullish bad pattern, which generally are the reversal pattern calculated on the Fibonacci based. Okay, if you look at these momentum after a strong dip, it is again showing a sign of positive momentum. If you look at the stochastics, it is again giving a positive crossover. And if I look at
this is the stochastic.
Yeah, fine. So if you look at the stochastics, again the previous lows was broken. It is again from the oversold territory giving a positive crossover into the buying zone, and again reversal patterns forming on the price chart. Okay, so reversal pattern forming on the price chart, and the bearish momentum is failing to continue. So I think with the stop loss of this level, which was around 332 low, so I would slightly place a stop loss at around 328, and today is again showing upside momentum. So one can buy at current level, add on dips towards 340 to 343 levels, and I'm expecting around 382 on the upside on this stock, which is around this level.
Okay, 382, that's the first target that you have. And then how soon do you see this coming?
I think maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, so that's a positive view that's coming in on Sterlite Tech. Thank you so much for that, Brijesh. Amit, Sterlite Tech, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks very interesting on the chart. The broader setup is quite strong. Unlike, a lot of mid caps which are languishing and having deep cuts, this one is standing out and, yeah, I mean, it's looking good for a pullback towards 380, but I won't be even surprised if it is its all-time highs of about 415 going forward.
Okay, so that's a positive view. And what about you, NS?
Yeah, I also believe like the stock is making higher tops, higher bottoms. Currently, it has given up all the gains that it could generate after the rally from 320 up to 400. Now it has come back to that area, retested that area, and looks bullish, but would like to keep a stop loss at around 320ish. And you can expect like 400 or even 420 on the stock.
Okay, so that's a consensus positive view that's coming in on Sterlite Tech also. And the final stock that we want to talk about is Grah Finance, and Yash has a chart on it.
Yeah, that's and I'll end the show on a positive note. So there's a buy call coming in on Grah Finance, and the indicator that we are using is the stochastic indicator. It's a very short-term call that we have. So basically, we've seen the stock coming under severe selling pressure over the last 5 days, but it has snapped its losing streak and it's up about 2% in today's day of trade. And the stochastic indicator that has given an early buy signal. Now, the beauty of this indicator is that 3 out of the last 4 times that the indicator turned positive and you went long, it would have given you an average return of close to 5% over the next 10 days. So we could expect the stock to bounce from the levels of 280 that it is currently trading at, 284, 285, to go up to as much as 300. We saw a similar move happen earlier as well when it had touched the mark of about 260 going up all the way to 300. So a short-term bounce from these levels from 280 to 300 can be expected in Grah Finance.
Okay, so if you do a back testing, how much has been the return if you play this?
So on an average in the last 10 days, it would have given you positive returns of about 5 to 5.5%, and it has been successful in 3 out of the 4 times.
Okay, so that's a positive view. NS, any view on Grah Finance?
Well, I am not agreeing with Yash at this moment because the stock has given a strong breakdown out of the the pennant that was made over there on top around 200 DEMA, and 300 290 could be acting as a very strong resistance, and on the downside if it breaks 258, then we can even see it retest around 245 area.
Okay, that's the view on Grah Finance. What about you, Amit?
Yeah, so unlike the other NBFCs, this one has not taken a beating, So yes, definitely it's in a way outperforming, and the fall has been very, very rangy, So it's not having those deep cuts and trending on the downside. So it's more of a consolidation for the stock. Yeah, I mean, in the near term, for the trader, the stop is clearly below 275. So the risk is limited from here. One should actually attempt a buy, place a stop loss below 275 and expect 5-7% kind of an upside.
Okay, and Brijesh, finally, what's your view on
I am slightly bearish on the stock. I would, in case 289, 291 would be the selling area, I would look for a short opportunity, and I think 268, 267 could be the level on the downside one can look at.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on all the stocks today, almost 8 stocks that we discussed. But with that, it's a wrap on today's Hot Money. Thank you so much, NS, Amit, Brijesh. Thank you so much for coming in today for the show. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.